जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि। Thank you once again, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, for kindly being the host today for the 50th session of our series of talks on Śrī-Caitanya-Śikṣāṣṭakam. We've completed 50 sessions today and we are on the fourth verse. And I'm so happy and so fortunate that I have wonderful hosts like yourself and Param Karuna Prabhu who are taking responsibility for the successful execution of this entire series of talks, which I could not have done by myself. Thank you so much, Rameshwar Mahaprabhu, Paraparna Prabhu, for kindly taking such important responsibilities. And my sincere thanks also to all the wonderful devotees who are present here. Thank you for being a part of this series. I'm very grateful to each and every one of you that you are participating in this series of talks, and also to the devotees who are watching offline, who are watching on YouTube. My sincere thanks to each and every one of you for kindly giving your time and viewing the talks. Without any further delay, we will continue our discussion, and today is the 50th session of Sri Chaitanya Shikshashtakam. Before we continue, it is our practice to recite the verse which was composed specifically for this verse of the Shikshashtakam. प्रणवेन कृतं धन्यं वेदैस्त्रेतायुगं तथा गीतया द्वापरं धन्यं कलिः शिक्षाष्टकेन च. Kritam, Satyayuga, was blessed with Pranav, Omkar. Vedais-Tretayugam tatha. Treta Yuga was blessed with the four Vedas. Gitaya Dwaparam Dhanyam. Dwapar Yuga was blessed with the Bhagavad Gita. And Kali Yuga was blessed with Shri Shiksastakam. So, dear Vaishnavas, it is also our practice to have a brand new verse, a translation of a verse which is glorifying Shri Harinam. And here is a verse from Bhagavan Nam Mahatmya Sangraha. Shamayalam jalam vahanes tamaso bhaskarodayah shantihi kale raghaughasya nama sankirtanadharhe. Shamaya alam jalam vahanes. Shamaya, the disruptive force of vahane, of fire, is jalam, is water. Tamaso bhaskarodaya, the disruptive force of darkness is sunrise. Shantihi kale raghaughasya, and the disruptive force of the multitudes of sins of Kali Yuga, Nama Sankirtanadhare, is Nama Sankirtan of Hari. This is a wonderful verse from the Bhagavan Nam Mahatmya Sangraha. We are once again seeing the Annavay and the translation. And this wonderful verse, the fourth verse of Shri Shiksastakam, is in the meter Viyogini. And I had also said that another name for this meter is Sundari. And we will see that the term Sundari is also featured in the verse. So, a wonderful verse which contains the name of its own meter, and the name is used in another meaning. So, it is not used in the meaning of the meter name. It is used in the meaning of a spouse, a beautiful spouse. So this meter is Sundari, also known as Viyogini. Once again, I'll sing the verse. Na dhanam na janam na sundari kavitāṁ va jagadīśa kāmaye mama janmani janmanīśvare bhavatād bhaktir ahaitukī tvayi. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, kindly read the Anvay.
O Jagannatha, I desire neither wealth, nor followers, nor a beautiful spouse, nor poetic ability. In each and every birth of mine, let there be causeless bhakti towards you, the Supreme.
Wonderful. So, this is the translation. In the previous session, we were focusing upon na janam, and the discussion took us further into understanding the meaning of na, negation. And we saw two types of negations that cover all varieties of negations in the world. We saw paryudas pratished, selective negation, and prasajya pratished, absolute negation. And it was specified that the first half of the verse, na dhanam, na janam, na sundarīṁ, kavitāṁ va jagadīśa kāmaye. This is a classic example of prasajya, absolute negation. But the final part of the verse, bhavatād bhaktir ahaitukī tvayi. This is paryudas, this is selective negation. I want bhakti. I want causeless bhakti. So this is an example of selective negation, whereas the first half of the verse is an example of absolute negation. We saw this last time in order to understand the intention of Mahaprabhu when he is speaking this particular verse. Now, in reality, in traditional Vedic culture, it is a known fact that a guru does not accept so many followers and disciples that they cannot teach personally. In the 17th century, a French traveler came to visit India. India at that point of time was under the Mughal rule. But in the city of Varanasi, also known as Kashi, there was Vedic culture and Vedic studies which were going on in the same way as they were going on since centuries. When he came to Varanasi, he saw how the teachers were teaching the students. This French traveler was named Francois, and he traveled in India from 1656 to 1658 AD. So Francois Bernier noted the following about gurus and disciples during his travels, and this is what he said exactly. Prabhu, kindly read what he said.
The city of Varanasi, situated on the Ganga, in a beautiful location and surrounded by an extremely fertile and wealthy region, can be considered the primary center of learning for the Hindus. It is the Athens of India, where Brahmins and other devotees gather together. They are the only individuals who dedicate themselves to academic study. The city contains no formal colleges or structured classes like our universities. Instead, it resembles the philosophical schools of the past. The teachers are scattered across different parts of the city in private homes, primarily in suburban gardens that wealthy merchants allow them to use. Some of these teachers instruct 4 students, others 6 or 7, and the most distinguished may teach 12 to 15, but that is the maximum.
So this is the culture that was present in Kashi, in Varanasi. at that particular time. You cannot take on a particular student if you cannot take the responsibility of teaching them Shastra. And that discipline of teaching Shastra requires multiple years. Therefore, a teacher was allowed to teach a maximum of 12 or 15 students, and the teachers would not take more students than that particular number. The reason being that the greater number of students, the greater the attention of the teacher is divided. Now, if you have 15 students, it is possible to individually track the progress of every student and resolve their doubts personally. If you have 40 students, it is not so easily possible to track their progress. It is somewhat possible to address their doubts. If you have 100 students, forget about tracking the progress of each and every one on a day-to-day basis, and you have a very rare chance of answering everybody's queries. And if you have 1,000 students, you will not even remember their names. This is the honest reality of the situation. Therefore, in Varanasi, the tradition was to accept only those many students that we can teach in a dedicated manner. And the students too would stay with the teacher in a dedicated manner. They would not switch teachers unless they have to learn another discipline. So for example, if some student is learning grammar and their grammar studies are done and they want to study Vedanta now, so for Vedanta, they may approach another teacher. So this is how the teacher-student relationships were back in the day. This is 1656 to 1658 AD. The French traveler François Bernier has recorded this in his book. So we get an understanding of what it was traditionally. Anyways, we are now moving ahead because enough speaking about collecting followers, collecting disciples. There are other meanings of jana. And we said that when Mahaprabhu is saying na janam kāmaye, I do not desire jana, the first meaning of jana was loka, and loka means followers. And we have had enough discussion on followers. But the second meaning of jana, which traditional commentators have pointed out, is also relatives. Now, this meaning is very significant because this is not the primary meaning, it is a secondary meaning. Mahaprabhu's true intention is actually in the primary meaning that I do not want followers. Relatives, there is very little point in saying I do not want relatives. And the question arises, when Mahaprabhu says I do not want any relatives, does it mean that we should give up on all the relatives? That question arises. But even before that question arises, there is another pertinent question. We will take this question later, but first we will take a pertinent question. If we take the meaning of jana as relatives, so then Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, the meaning will be I do not desire relatives. Does it mean that I do not desire to collect more and more relatives? Can we collect relatives like we can collect disciples or followers? Please tell me.
They can be added by marriage or produced by marriage.
Wonderful. But blood relatives are fixed by birth.
Yes.
So you cannot really add blood relatives to your family because those relatives are fixed by birth. As you said correctly, by marriage you gain, relatives, but that will fall under the section of sundari, spouse. we are here speaking about the relatives that people acquire by birth, one's parents, one's siblings. The blood relatives that one gets are in general fixed, and you cannot do anything to change that number. They are fixed by one's prarabdha karma. And therefore, when Mahaprabhu says, I do not desire relatives, the meaning is certainly not that I do not desire to collect new relatives, because you cannot collect new relatives like you collect new followers or disciples. So, therefore, this meaning is a sort of a secondary meaning. The primary meaning is I do not want disciples or followers, and that we have discussed in great detail. Now, coming to the second question, should we quit all relatives? Should we give up on all the relatives? If each and every individual who recites the Siksastakam takes the literal meaning, I do not want any relatives, and gives up on all the relatives, will it be possible for us to have a Vaishnav society of householders? And the clear answer is no. If everybody quits on all the relatives, we will not be able to have a society of householders, because the Grihastha ashram is based upon having relatives. So we have to understand the meaning of this phrase, which is applicable, which is relevant to the general devotee. So the meaning is na mad bhakti marga paripanthinam janam kāmaye. Na janam kāmaye, I do not desire relatives. Which relatives? Mad bhakti marga paripanthi. Paripanthi means opposing, opposite to, contradictory to, unfavorable to. Unfavorable to what? Mad bhakti marga, my path of bhakti. So the meaning is as follows: I do not desire relatives who oppose my path of bhakti yoga. This is the meaning that makes logical sense. So, final meaning is when it's I do not desire, it means I do not want much association with such unfavorable relatives. That is the final meaning that comes out. I do not want much association with such relatives. So, this is how we understand something. See, sometimes some words, some sentences, some phrases don't make sense when you take the direct interpretation. For example, Dāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, if I say Gangayam Ghoshaha, a village on the Ganga, does it make direct sense or am I forced to take another meaning? Please tell me.
You're forced to take another meaning.
Yes. So, this is called Lakshana Vritti. Lakshana Vritti means your direct meaning cannot make sense. Therefore, you are forced to take the secondary indicated meaning. And what is the secondary indicated meaning of Gangayam Ghoshaha? A village or a hamlet on the Ganga. So, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, what could be the meaning of a village on the Ganga?
It could be on the shore or it could be on poles holding it above the water.
Okay. So, the meaning that makes sense is a village on the banks of the Ganga. Wonderful, as you pointed out. So, when we are forced to take such a meaning, it is called Lakshana Vritti. So, this is an example of the same. Because if everybody says, I do not want any relatives, then we will not be able to have a society of Vaishnavas. So, therefore, I do not want association of relatives, much association of relatives who are opposing my path of Bhakti Yoga. This is the meaning that makes logical sense in this particular context. Now, the reason for not associating much with unfavorable relatives is as follows. Shri Rupa Goswami specifies in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu Yasya yat sangatihi pumso manivat syat satadgunah स्वकुलर्ध्यै ततो धीमान् स्वयूथानेव संश्रयेत् यस्य यत् संगतिः पुंसो मणिवत् स्यात् स तद्गुणः मणिवत् like a transparent crystal takes on the colors of the object it associates with. For example, you take a transparent crystal and put it on a red rose, so the transparent crystal becomes reddish. So transparent crystal takes on the colors of the object it associates with. Similarly, people take on the qualities of those with whom they associate. Swakula ridhyai tato dhiman. Thus, for the prosperity and auspiciousness of one's kula, one's spiritual family, swayuthan eva samshrayat. An intelligent person should take only in one's like-minded groups. So there are many relatives who are not favorable, who are not like-minded. Sometimes one is forced to associate with them, but one doesn't give one's heart, one doesn't disclose one's secrets, one doesn't speak confidentially to such relatives. One does one's duty with such relatives, or one behaves with such relatives sometimes, like Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, like we behave with a shopkeeper. We speak some nice words to the shopkeeper, but ultimately it's a transactional relationship. So that is how, with relatives who are unfavorable to our path, we have to behave in such a manner. Now, somebody who is not a Vaishnava may say that why is Sri Rupa Goswami teaching us this thing? It forces us to become an abnormal member of the society, and we become outcasts in our own family by such behavior. And why should such teachings be given to Vaishnavas? The reason is that after becoming Vaishnavas, sometimes we forget how difficult it was to live a life of ignorance when we were not even aware that there is something after death. What ignorance it was to not know what is life about, to know the identity of the Jivatma, the identity of the soul, to know that life is based on principles of karma, and to take responsibility for one's actions. All these things are missing in the life of a person who is not a spiritualist. And the Vaishnavas taught us all of this, and therefore there is nothing, which there is nothing we can do to repay that debt to the Vaishnavas. And Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, would you like to imagine a day when you forget all of these things about the nature of the Jivatma, that there is reincarnation, that there is life after death, and that you get reactions based on good and bad karma? Would you, if somebody gives you an option, in return they are going to give you 10 million US dollars, would you like to forget all of these things? Please tell me.
Absolutely not.
No. So the spiritualists, the Vaishnavas, they have a very important role in our life. They taught us all these things, which the other relatives and family members did not teach us. Hence, we owe some gratitude to the Vaishnavas, which is greater than gratitude towards the relatives. Therefore, we associate with those relatives very closely who are favorable to us. And with those relatives who are unfavorable, we keep a respectful distance and we do the bare minimum with them. So, this is what is the recommendation. There is a reason behind such behavior, because at any cost we cannot afford to lose the wonderful knowledge, the wonderful realizations that came to us in this life, through the association of the Vaishnavas. So this is the reason why such advice is given. And negative association with unfavorable relatives, it definitely affects us. But once we become a serious devotee, dedicated devotee, at that point of time, such negative association also has very little or no effect. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavan Brahma himself says, Tavadragadayah stenas, tavat karagraham graham, tavan mohongri nigado, yavat krishnana tejana. Krishna, my dear Lord Krishna, yavat na tejana, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain like thieves. Their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles. Why does Sri Brahma say this in the 10th canto? Because unless and until one becomes a near and dear one of Bhagavan, one does not understand the Siddhanta, the Tattva of the universe, how the universe is working. All their material attachments, all their relatives, their homes, they are designed to take away the good fortune of the living entity and put the living entity in one misery after another. Once we become devotees, these things have little effect on us, and the greater degree that we have of bhakti, the lesser effect that these things have on us. So, a wonderful contribution in our lives by the Vaishnavas. They pulled us out of this entire cycle of ignorance where we were not even aware of what is happening to us, where we knew that there is something wrong, but there was nobody to tell us what it was. So, that gratitude is, with the Vaishnavas, those Vaishnavas, we are grateful towards them that they taught us all of this. Now, relatives, they are very respectable, but at the same time relatives also have some limitations in this world. There is a wonderful verse in the Subhashit Ratna Bhandagar which specifies how various relatives, they have various limitations in relationship with us. This verse is in the meter Shardul Vikriditam. I'll sing this verse. स्वाधीनादयिता सुतावधिसुतो सौ षोडशाब्दावधि स्यात् कन्याकरपीडनावधिसुत स्त्री तद्दशात्वावधे जामाता बहुलार्पितावधि सखा साधु प्रलापावधे शिष्यो गुह्य निरूपणावधि परे चैते धनत्वावधे स्वाधीना दयिता. Dayita, a wife, belongs exclusively to the husband as long as Sutavadhi, as long as she doesn't beget a child. After a wife begets a child, her affection, her love has to get divided between the husband and the child. So, exclusive love towards the husband is only possible till the first child is begotten. This is the limitation of being a wife. And even the son, a son belongs to his parents until he becomes 16 years of age. Shoda Shabdavadhi. After 16 years of age, what happens to the son? He develops his own opinions and he develops his own mustache. There are two things that a son grows: his own opinion and his own mustache. Till that time, the son belongs to the parents. After that, we have to respect the boundaries of the son. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, do you agree with this?
Yes. Yes, I
Yes.
do.
So then the daughter, Kanya Karapidanavadi, she belongs to her parents only until she finds love and gets married. Till that time, she belongs to the parents. After that, she doesn't belong to the parents. And Sutastri, daughter-in-law, she is obedient only until she reaches youth. See, previously marriages were held in childhood. So the daughter-in-law would be very young. She would be very submissive. But once she becomes 21, 22, 23, that time she starts exercising her dominion over the home. So that is what the verse is saying. It specifies things of the past, that the daughter-in-law previously would be very young, and then later when she would be around 21, 22, she would start exercising her dominion. Nowadays this is not the case. Nowadays most marriages occur when the daughter-in-law is already in youth. So she already has her own life and her own opinions in most cases. Jamata, son-in-law, belongs to us Bahularpitavadi, only until our contributions keep flowing towards him. There is a famous saying in India that there are three entities who are never satisfied no matter how much you offer to them. First is the ocean. No matter how much you throw in the ocean is always ready to accept more. The second is fire. No matter how much you throw in the fire, the fire is always ready to accept more. And the third entity is son in law. No matter how much you give to the son in law is always ready to accept more. So, traditionally, the son in law behaves nicely because traditionally it is said that the son in law is taking care of your daughter. Therefore, you have to be grateful to him. And if you're not grateful to him, then he too won't behave nicely with you. In Sakha Sadhu Pralapavadi. And friends belong to us only as long as we speak sweetly with them. And Shishyo Guhya Nirupanavadi. And a disciple belongs to the Guru only as long as the Guru doesn't teach him all the secrets. Once the Guru teaches all the secrets, the value of the Guru starts going down. There is a famous pastime in this regard. The Guru of the Asuras, Shri Shukracharya, he knew Mrita Sanjeevani. Mrita Sanjeevani means how to bring the dead back to life. And the Devatas, the gods, did not have this particular Vidya, this knowledge. They wanted this knowledge from Shukracharya, but Shukracharya would not teach them. So the Devatas sent the son of Brihaspati, his name was Kacha. They sent Kacha to learn from Shukracharya. Kacha, he pretended to be a very submissive disciple, learnt everything from Shukracharya, did a lot of seva, and Kacha was an ideal disciple of Shukracharya. And Shukracharya's daughter, she fell in love with Kacha. She fell in love with Kacha. Now, the Asuras, they knew that when they came to know that this Kacha is actually a representative of the Devatas, they killed Kacha. But Shukracharya's daughter, she was so fond of Kacha that she requested her father Shukracharya to bring him back to life by using Mrita Sanjeevani, his knowledge of bringing dead people back to life. Shukracharya brought him back to life, and this happened many times. The final time when he brought Kacha back to life, Kacha had learnt this knowledge, and Kacha said, "Now I am going away." At that time, Shukracharya's daughter, she requested him, please marry me, I am in love with you. Kacha said, that was not my purpose. My purpose was to learn this. My purpose is over. I am going to my own society. So she cursed Kacha, saying that your knowledge will not have any fruit. You will never be able to use it. Kacha said, all right, I will teach it to others and others will use it. My purpose is done. And Kacha left. In this way, Kacha kept his relationship with his guru only as long as he got the secrets. As soon as he got the secrets, he did not have anything to do with his own guru. And pare chaite dhanatvavati, and everyone else pretends to belong to us only as long as we have wealth. Imagine this, dear Vaishnavas, if today we were to become a complete loser in terms of wealth, how many will stick around with us and for how long? How many people will support us and for how long? So, arthasya purusho daso. All humans are servants of wealth. And as long as wealth is there, the relations are going to be there. This is the genuine limitation of all relatives in this material world. It is not anybody's fault. It is the way the system is designed, and nobody can do anything about it. Absolutely anything about it. So, the limitations of relatives in this world is very, very obvious from verses like this. How should we then deal with our relatives? And to summarize this, that we have been gifted with janam, relatives, according to our prarabdha karma. So we accept that, we accept the relatives we've been gifted with, we accept the parents, etc., that we've been gifted with, and we are walking on this path of bhakti yoga. So any relatives who are favorable are most desirable. We welcome such relatives. And with relatives who are neutral or antagonistic against this path, we keep a respectful distance so that there is least disturbance to each other. We shouldn't disturb them, they shouldn't disturb us. It is said, Yasman no dvijate loko, lokan no dvijate chaya in the Bhagavad Gita. He by whom others are not put into difficulty, and he who is not put into difficulty by others. This is the characteristic of a wonderful yogi as given in the Bhagavad Gita. So, especially with relatives who are antagonistic to the path, we keep a respectful distance so that there is least amount of disturbance. But we don't fail to perform our duties towards them. So, if we are situated in the Grihastha ashram and if there is some duty that we need to perform, then we carry out those duties even in relation with antagonistic relatives. We just do our bare minimum. And we learn to say okay to unfavorable opinions. This is, I will specify this verse once again, but we learn to say okay, neither yes nor no to unfavorable opinions. But for those who have taken sannyas, na janam literally means that they have to give up all relatives. If somebody has taken up sannyas, they have to take the literal meaning because a sannyasi is socially dead. A sannyasi is considered to be socially dead. In many cases, a sannyasi performs his own shraddha, his own uh, his own ceremony of shraddha, and then he takes sannyas. So that is, in many cases, that happens. So, a sannyasi is socially dead, and therefore all relatives are to be given up by a sannyasi. Now, for Mahaprabhu, he has taken sannyas. So, Mahaprabhu can take the direct meaning, na janam. I do not desire any relatives. But for those of us who are in the Grihastha ashram, the direct meaning doesn't make sense. So we have to take the secondary meaning. I do not desire association of unfavorable relatives. That is what is the secondary meaning for those who are in household life. So this is how it is to be understood. Now, when you say okay to relatives, this verse is famous in the Srimad Bhagavatam. We have spoken of this verse many times. Gyatayah pitarau putra भ्रातरः सुहृदोपरे यद्वदन्ति यदिच्छन्ति चानुमोदेत निर्ममः. Prabhu, can you kindly read the translation?
An intelligent man or woman in human society should make his own program of activities very simple. If there are suggestions from friends, children, parents, brothers, or anyone else, he should externally agree, saying yes. But internally, he should be determined not to create a cumbersome life in which the purpose of life will not be fulfilled.
Yeah, so he should externally agree saying, yes, that's okay. That's okay. But then he should do what is favorable for their bhajan. So every Vaishnava should behave in this manner. This is the recommendation of Narada Muni in the 7th canto of the Bhagavatam. Otherwise, the unfavorable relatives, those who are antagonistic to bhakti, will take us away from the path of bhakti and will force us to agree to their opinions. And then we don't want to live a life in which we are living as if there is no life after death, there is no principle of karma. We don't want to live such a life. Therefore, to such antagonistic relatives, we learn how to say okay. But internally, we know what is the Siddhanta, what the Shastra say, and we will live a life in which our execution of Bhakti Yoga becomes as simple as possible. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says, Jivana sahaja jai, bhakti badha nahi paye. Life should go easily. There should be no disturbances to bhakti. Actually speaking, in the Shastra, it is specified, se parama bandhu, se pita mata, Shri Krishna charane ye, prema bhakti data. से परम बंधु से माता पिता श्री कृष्ण चरणयai prema bhakti data. That individual who bestows prema towards the feet of Shri Krishna, that is Parama Bandhu, is the supreme relative, supreme well-wisher, Mata Pita, mother and father. That person is actually our best relative because that person taught us about Shri Krishna. And our foremost attachment, philosophically, intellectually, mentally, will naturally be towards such an individual because such an individual rescued us from the path of avidya, ignorance in this material world. This is in the Chaitanya Mangal, and this is what is the meaning of the term jana. Now, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, we have seen the first two meanings now. Janam is first meaning is I do not want followers. Second meaning we have seen I do not want relatives, which means I do not want to associate with those unfavorable relatives so much. Now the third meaning remains people. Now, I do not want people. Now, is there any particular person who can fit into this category of people? Somebody who is neither a follower nor a relative.
Yes, lots of people.
For example,
Not to be pedantic, but yes.
okay. One of the best examples of such an individual who can be included in this category is a friend. A friend is neither biologically related to us. A friend is neither a disciple or a follower in most cases. So, Mitram, friend. But when Mahaprabhu says, I do not desire jana or friends, I do not desire incompatible, unqualified friends. It does not mean that I do not desire any friends, because all varieties of spiritualists, all the way from the pure devotee acharyas, all the way down to the new Kanishta Adhikari, they all are in great need of like minded, compatible, qualified friends. We all need such friends. So, a friend is somebody very special. When we look at a friend, automatically there is something which moves inside the heart, and we feel deep affection for such a person simply on looking at them. There is a wonderful verse in the Subhashit literature which tells us what is the symptom of genuine friendship. How do you know that a particular person is your genuine friend? And the verse says, Darshane sparshane vapi shravane bhashane piva yatra dravatyantarangam sasneha iti kathyate. Yatra dravati antarangam, when the heart melts joyously on darshane, on seeing, sparshane, on touching, shravane, bhashane, on hearing or conversing with an individual, one is said to be experiencing sneha, affection. And this sneha, the feeling of this affection, the feeling that something is moving inside the heart when we are speaking to this person or when we see this person, this is a symptom of genuine friendship. You know, you are genuine friends with this person because as soon as you see this person or talk to this person, there is immediate happiness within your heart. This is genuine friendship, where there is sneha, where there is genuine affection for the friend. And this unconditional friendship, once you become friends with such a person, you like to keep it unconditional no matter how the friend is. In the Valmiki Ramayana, there is a wonderful statement that Sugriv speaks to Shri Ram, and this statement is as follows: Ardhyo vapi daridro va dukkhita sukhitopi va nirdosho va sadosho va vayasyah paramagati. Adhyova, rich, daridrova, or poor, dukkita, unhappy, sukhitopiva, or joyous, nirdosho, faultless, sadosho, or faulty, irrespective of all these conditions. Vayasya, a friend, paramagati, is one's supreme shelter. Friendship is such an important relationship to have. It is such an important relationship to have in the Vaishnava community, in the life of a spiritualist, because it is only when we have genuine friends, it is only at that point of time we are able to perform the six functions that Sri Rupa Goswami specified in Upadeshamritam. Dadati, pratigrihnati, guhyamakhyati, prichhati, bhunkte, bhojayate chaiva, shadvidham priti lakshanam. The six characteristics of priti are dadati, pratigrihnati, giving gifts and receiving gifts, guhyam akhyati, speaking confidentially, prichhati, and asking opinions, bhunkte bhojayate, feeding and eating, shadvidham priti lakshanam. These six are exchanges of affection between friends, and this needs one. We need to have these friends in the Vaishnava society, otherwise that verse will become meaningless. Dadati pratigrihnati guhyam akhyati prichhati. We need to have such friends in the Vaishnava society. Often it is seen that, due to considering all relationships as Maya, a person doesn't even make a genuine friend in a Vaishnava society. And because of this, they are unable to share their heart to anybody in the society of Vaishnavas because they don't trust anybody. For them, nobody is a friend. Everybody is a suspect that this person cannot act as a friend. Then one cannot get happiness in life in such an environment. Sri Jiva Goswami, had a wonderful disciple. Now I am speaking something about a wonderful disciple of Sri Jiva Goswami. This is specified in the Sadhana Deepika of Sri Radha Krishna Goswami. Gopal Dasa Nama Kopi Vaishyaha. A certain devotee from a Vaishya family was named Gopal Das. Shri Jiva Goswami Padanam Priya Shishyaha. He was a dear disciple of Srila Jiva Goswami. Tat Prarthana Paravashena Tena Swakiyatvam Siddhantitam. Being convinced by the request of Sri Gopal Das, Sri Jiva Goswami put forth the proposition of Swakiya Naika in his literature, that the gopis finally got married to Sri Krishna. In the end, in the Gopal Champu, he says that the gopis finally got married to Sri Krishna. That is what. So many devotees could not understand why Sri Jiva Goswami spoke of that entire pastime of the marriage between the gopis and Sri Krishna. But Sri Radha Krishna Goswami, he reveals this thing, that Sri Jiva Goswami became, convinced, paravash, helpless by the request of Sri Gopal Das. And then he put forward the Siddhanta in the Gopal Champu. Now, Prabhu, the name of the Champu is also very special. What is the name of the Champu that Sri Jiva Goswami wrote?
Gopal Champu.
Gopal Champu. And what is the name of his dear disciple?
Gopal Das.
Gopal Das. So this particular disciple was very dear to Sri Jiva Goswami. Very dear to Sri Jiva Goswami. Many of us have not even heard about this name, Gopal Das. Many of us are hearing for the first time. We will see in the words of Sri Jiva Goswami himself how dear this disciple was to Sri Jiva Goswami. Sri Jiva Goswami does not call him a disciple. Sri Jiva Goswami calls him a dear friend. At the end of the Harinamamrit Vyakaran, his own composition on Sanskrit grammar, his own sutras on Sanskrit grammar, Sri Jiva Goswami composes this verse. This is the very final verse of Harinamamrit Vyakaran, the concluding verse. After this, there is no other verse in the Harinamamrit Vyakaran. This verse is as follows. Harinamamrita sangyam yadarthametat prakashayamase yadarthametat prakashayamase ubhayatra mama mitram sabhavatu gopalata sakhyam sabhavatu gopalada sakhyam. Harinamamrita sangyam yadartham etat prakashayamase. For his sake I have composed this grammar named Harinamamrita Vyakaran. Ubhayatra mama mitram. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, what is the meaning of mitram? Please tell me.
Friend.
May that devotee, Gopal Das Akhya, named Gopal Das, Ubhayatra mama mitram, be my friend, Ubhayatra, in this world and the next world. Sri Jiva Goswami initiated a friend, and even after he initiated him as a disciple, this particular individual, Sri Gopal Das, was so dear to Sri Jiva Goswami that Sri Jiva Goswami composed Harinamamrita Vyakaranam for the sake of his friend. This is Sri Jiva Goswami's gift to his friend. He composed sutras parallel to Panini's grammar just for the sake of giving pleasure to his friend. This is the friendship that Sri Jiva Goswami had. He had one such friend, and his name is Sri Gopal Das. Sri Gopal Das, for his sake, Harinamamrit Vyakaranam was written. And in the previous slides, it is indicated that the Gopal Champu also was named like that to give pleasure to this particular individual. So, Sri Jiva Goswami also in his final will has written his name, Sri Gopal Das. So this particular individual was a dear friend of Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Jiva Goswami desired his friendship not only in this world but also in the next world. Therefore, when I said na janam, I do not want any friends. It means I do not want any unqualified or unfavorable friends, but qualified and favorable friends, like-minded friends. Oh, I those friends even the acharyas want. Those friends even Sri Jiva Goswami wants. Not only in this world, but also in the next world. Wonderful example of devotional friendship that we can see in the writings of Sri Jiva Goswami. Shri Narottam Das Thakur also expresses a similar desire. We have heard of this wonderful song of Shri Narottam Das Thakur that Ramachandra Sangamage Narottama Das. Many of us have heard this phrase that Narottam Das Thakur wants the association of Shri Ramachandra Kaviraj. Again in Prem Bhakta Chandrika, Prem Bhakti Chandrika is a composition of Shri Narottam Das Thakur. He writes this particular stanza at the end of Prem Bhakti Chandrika. This is around the end of Prem Bhakti Chandrika. Ramachandra Kaviraj se sang mora kaj tar sang vina sab shunya यदि जन्म है पुनः तार संग है न तबे है नरोत्तम धन्य Ramachandra Kaviraj Shri Ramachandra Kaviraj is such a friend. Say sang morakaj with him all I perform all my efforts with him. All my efforts attain success with him. Tara Sangha Vina Sava Shunya. Without his association, everything is void. Yadi Janma Hai Puna. If I take birth again, Tara Sangha Hayana. Let me get his association again. See, he's not asking for let me get this particular lady as a wife, let me get this particular individual as a father, let me get this particular mother. No, no. This relationship of friendship, Maitri, was so deep. So if I take birth again, let me get the association of Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj again. Tabe hai Narottama Dhanya. With such friendship, Narottam Das will feel truly blessed to have another life. This is the mood of Sri Narottam Das Thakur. Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj was a very dear friend of Sri Narottam Das Thakur and a disciple of Sri Srinivas Acharya. And this title of Kaviraj was given to him by Srila Jiva Goswami. So Sri Ramchandra Kaviraj, this title of Kaviraj was given by Sri Jiva Goswami and is a very dear friend of Sri Narottam Das Thakur. So all of us should have such friends. Dear Vaishnavas, each and every one of us should have such friends within the Vaishnava society. A friend, I will dare to say this, a friend in many ways is also a partner in crime. Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, you understand what is the meaning of partner in crime?
Yes.
So, how would you, in simple English, how would you define that particular phrase?
It's someone you conspire with to do important things.
Yeah. So, somebody with whom you do something which is secret. It may not be a criminal activity, but somebody who knows your secret, somebody whom you can confide in, and somebody who's very close to you. So, in this way, we should have such friends, and such friends make life worth living in this world. And therefore, even Sri Narottam Das Thakur says, my life, if I have to accept another life, that life will also be worth living if I have the association of a friend like Shri Ramchandra Kaviraj. So similarly, we should also have like-minded friends on this particular path. The friends we want, the friends we desire are described wonderfully in a verse in the Subhashit literature. These are the friends that we actually want in the Vaishnava society. Karaviva sharirasya netrayorīva pakshmani avicārya priyam kuryāt tanmitram mitramuchyate. Karav iva sharirasya, like hands rise to protect the body. In case of an attack on the body, the hands rise spontaneously. This is called reflex action. Just as hands arise spontaneously to protect the body, netrayoriva pakshmani, like eyelashes, automatically close to protect the eyes, avicharya, without even thinking. Similarly, priyam kuryat, a friend who acts instantly to help without asking for it, tan mitram uchyate. That friend is actually a true friend, and this friend we desire. Such a friend we desire in the Vaishnava society. Such a friend we want in the Vaishnava society. Somebody who will protect us, somebody who will stand with us in difficult times. Not, we don't need a police inspector as a friend, somebody who's constantly checking us and reporting us to the authorities. That is not a friend. That is a spy. That is a double agent. Somebody who's pretending to be a friend with us and also behind our back, he's speaking ill about us to others. That person is not a friend. Unfortunately, there are many individuals who pretend to be a friend, but behind our back, they are speaking ill of us. So, in the Shastra, it is specified what are the characteristics of a good friend. Wonderful verse. Ahitat pratishedhascha hite chanu pravartanam vyasane cha parityagas trividham mitra lakshanam. So, when you have a good friend, they do three things. Ahitat pratishedhascha, they prevent us from what is harmful. So if I see my friend doing something which is harmful to them, I will privately prevent them. Hite chanu pravartanam. They engage us in what is beneficial. Vyasane cha aparityagas, and they don't give up on us in times of difficulty. Trividham mitra lakshanam. These three are the characteristics of good friends. So these three, if they are present in a particular friend, that friend is a very good friend to us. Unfortunately, the situation in the society is such that in many cases we do not get good friends. Instead, we get double agents. Double agents are people who become friends with us only to know our secrets and to reveal it to somebody else. Such a person who acts as a double agent is severely criticized by Bhishma Dev in the Mahabharata. प्रत्यक्षं गुणवादीयः परोक्षे चापि निन्दकः समानवः श्ववल्लोके नष्टलोकपरावरः. Prabhu, kindly read the translation.
Anyone who expresses praise in front of us and criticizes us behind our back is living exactly like an unfortunate dog in this world. His current life and next life are doomed to failure.
So Sri Bhishma Dev in Mahabharata, he criticizes such people who think that they are doing a great service to society by pretending to be a friend in front of us and behind our backs they are biting us. Behind our backs they bite us. Samanavah shvavalloke nashtaloka paravara. Such a person is living life like an unfortunate dog. See, there are some fortunate dogs who get a master and they live happily. And there are some unfortunate dogs who don't get a master. You are walking on the street, suddenly this dog who's disturbed, he comes and bites you from behind. That's an unfortunate situation, and the dog is also unfortunate. But a person who backbites is doing the exact same thing. He is not faithful to anybody, and he backs you behind your back, and causes a disturbance for you. Nashtaloka parabara. His current life and his next life are doomed to failure. So this is what Bhishma Dev says about people who, instead of becoming good friends, they become double agents. What is a person supposed to do with a friend? Dāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, today, if you become good friends with somebody and you come to know their secrets, you know that such people, your friend doesn't wake up on time every day, wakes up a little late. Are you going to keep it a secret with you, or are you going to report it to somebody? What are you supposed to do in such a situation?
Keep it secret.
Keep it secret. And Srila Prabhupada says, unfortunately, this is not always the case. So, Prabhu, kindly read what Srila Prabhupada says about envious people who pretend to be friends.
It is said, Sarpa krura kala krura, sarpat krura tara kala. The snake is very crooked and envious, and so also is a person like a demon. Mantraushtadi vasha sarpa kala kena nivaryate. One can bring a snake under control with mantras, herbs, and drugs, but an envious and crooked person cannot be brought under control by any means.
So, once a person becomes a backbiter, such a person becomes a disturbance for the Vaishnava society and becomes unfit to act as anybody's genuine friend. Srila Prabhupada also criticizes such a person in his purport to Srimad Bhagavatam. He says that a snake is better than such a person. A snake is better than such a person. In Indian languages, there are many such quotes. Or in English also, sometimes you see quotes, which are much more stronger than this. Prabhupada is using very mild language. There are quotes stronger than this. That if you see a snake and an envious person, make sure to kill the envious person first before you kill the snake. So, Shastra and tradition are filled with criticism of such people who cannot act as genuine friends. Our behavior instead should be like that of a genuine friend who knows how to protect the secrets of their friend. See, as long as the secrets are not criminal in nature, as long as our friend has not committed a severe crime which needs to be reported to the law authorities, till that time, small mistakes should always be kept secret. Shri Ramanujacharya speaks of this in his Prapannamrita. वैष्णवानां च जन्मानि निद्रालस्यानि यानि च दृष्ट्वा तान्यप्रकाश्यानि जनेभ्यो न वदेत् क्वचित् तेषां दोषान् विहायाशु गुणांश्चैव प्रकीर्तयेत्. Vaishnavanam cha janmani. If a Vaishnav has taken birth in a low family, Nidra alasyani, oversleeping, laziness, yani cha, whatever other faults are present in a Vaishnava. Drishtva tani aprakashyani. On seeing those faults, they should never be revealed to a second person. And janebhyo navadet, and especially forget about second person, one should not never even think of disclosing such things on a public platform. Tesham doshan vihaya ashu, giving up discussions of their faults. Gudams chaiva prakirte. If it is possible to glorify them, then one should definitely glorify such individuals. So, this is how we should be with our friends. We should know that some secrets are supposed to be taken to the grave, and those secrets should always remain with us. Otherwise, we will never have a high trust society. There are some societies which are high trust societies. There are some societies which are low trust societies. What sort of a society do we want the Vaishnava society to be? A high trust society or a low trust society? It depends on our behavior. As long as it is not a criminal fault, we should know the art of keeping something secret, especially in relationship with our friends. We should know what secrets we have to keep. And therefore, one should avoid snitching on one's friends. In Shukraniti of Shukracharya, this is a wonderful verse. This verse is very significant. And dear Vaishnavas, please pay close attention to this and the next verse. वैरिभूतोऽपि पश्चात् प्राक् कथितं वापि सर्वदा विज्ञातमपि यद्धौष्ट्यं दर्शयेत् तन्न कर्हि चेत्. Dāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, please read the translation. Very important verse.
Even after a friend has become one's bitter enemy, one should never reveal the secrets that were invested in oneself by the friend and the faults of the friend that one is aware of.
This is a very important principle that all Vaishnavas need to take care of. Today, somebody is our friend, but tomorrow, due to some reason, we develop a difference of opinion with them, or we develop some, negativity towards them. There's one thing that we should not do, that if there were some specific secrets that were invested by that particular friend in us, or if there are some faults, then those things we should try not to reveal those faults or those secrets to others. So this is something very important, because we never know when the relationship with that particular individual will turn favorable again. We never know this. But if we reveal the faults and the secrets of that person to others, then we are closing that door of ever reviving our relationship with that person. So it's a wonderful verse that we all should understand and know. And we need friends who can keep our secrets. The reason why we have friends is that they are the ones in whom we can invest our secrets. The wonderful verse in the meter Mandakranta. यैर्वातूलो भवति पुरतः कथ्यमानैर्जनानां कामप्यन्तर्विदधति रुजं येऽप्यनुद्गीर्यमाणा तेऽभिप्रायः किमपि हृदये कण्ठलग्नाः स्फुरन्ताम् यस्याख्येयास्तमिह सुहृदं पुण्यवन्तो लभन्ते. Prabhu, kindly read the translation, a wonderful verse from the Subhashitavali of Shri Vallabhdev.
Only the truly virtuous souls are blessed with a true, heartful friend. Such a friend is a trustworthy companion with whom one can share those deep-seated feelings that rise up to the throat, restless and fluttering to come out. These are the innermost emotions that cause distress if expressed in front of ordinary people. Yet these emotions inflict a strange inner agony if kept inside the heart. But when confided in such a friend, it brings a person wonderful peace and joy.
This is the reason why we need friends. This is the exact purpose why we need friends. There are some things which we are ashamed of speaking in front of the general society. And these things cannot even be kept within the heart. So such things need to be spoken to somebody whom we fully trust. And that can only be one person, a time tested friend. Only a time tested friend who is very like minded and who knows the art of protecting secrets. Such a person can be invested with our deepest secrets of life. So, this is the reason for having friends. And every Vaishnava or Vaishnavi in the society should have those like minded friends, should have them. Actually, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says we live for the happiness of such friends. This is a verse in a discussion between Maharaj Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj. पुंसस्त्रिवर्गो विहितः सुहृदो यनुभावितः न तेषु क्लिश्यमानेषु त्रिवर्गोऽर्थाय कल्पते. When one's friends and relatives are happily situated, one's trivarga, dharma, artha and kam, religiosity, prosperity and sense gratification, as described in the Vedic literatures, are beneficial. And otherwise, if one's friends and relatives are in distress, these three goals of life cannot offer any happiness. So we wish to have dharma, artha, and kam along with our friends. We want to see our friends happy. Then it makes sense to have dharma, artha, and kam. If my friends are not happy, what use is my dharma, artha, and kam? As Arjun said in the Gita, what is the use of winning the kingdom if those people for whose sake we are living, those people are dead? What is the use of such a kingdom? So we live for our friends because they are very dear to us. They are very like minded. They help us on the path of our bhajan, and they know how to protect our secrets and give proper counseling to us at proper times. Such friends are time tested, and for the happiness of such friends we live. This is the clear conclusion of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Other friends I don't want. Na janam kāmaye. I do not want anybody else. I don't want thousands of friends. On Facebook, I have 5,000 friends. Now I cannot accept any more. But Facebook is cheating me because they are not friends, they are just contacts. What is known as contacts in my cell phone, Facebook started calling it friends. So they are contacts, somebody whom I contacted and connected with. It is incorrectly calling it friends. So I should not fall in the illusion that I have 5,000 friends. I have 5,000 contacts, out of which I may have met 500 personally, maybe once, out of which I may be knowing 50 in some detail, out of which only 5 may be worthy of true friendship, in whom I can invest my secrets. If not 5, at least 4. If not 4, at least 3. If not 3, at least 2. If not 2, at least one friend. Like Gopal Das, one friend. Like Shri Ramchandra Kaviraj. Let's have that one friend so that life will be worth living in the society of Vaishnavas. Therefore, Shastra says, Panchavihi saha sthathavyam, gantavyam panchavihi saha, panchavihi saha vaktavyam, na dukkham panchavihi saha. One should stay with 5 friends, travel with 5 friends, and converse with 5 friends. Na dukkham. Life becomes happy when you have at least 5 friends, or at least 4, or at least 3, 2, or at least 1. But don't live in the society of Vaishnavas with 0 friends. Don't live in the society by thinking that you are living in a low trust society. Have some friends in whom you have high trust, and then life will be worth living. All others, na kāmaye. All others people, I do not want them as friends. They can be my acquaintances. They can have other relationships with me. But friends, 1, 2, 3, 4, maximum 5. That quantity is good. So in this way, na janam kāmaye. Dear devotees, next, especially in the next class, we will go to sundarīṁ. Mahāprabhu had said, na dhanaṁ kāmaye. And in the Upanishads, we had described in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it is called vitta eshana, desire for wealth. And then we have said, na janam kāmaye, loka eshana, the desire for winning over this world and the next world. But next will come up na sundarīṁ kāmaye, putra eshana, the desire to have a wonderful spouse, a beautiful spouse, and the desire to produce progeny. And we will take it up in the next class because Mahaprabhu is saying na sundarīṁ kāmaye, I do not desire a spouse. But Mahaprabhu himself in his Grihastha ashram, he said that Mahaprabhu was married twice. Sri Nityananda Prabhu was married twice. Many associates of Mahaprabhu were married twice. How do we understand the instruction? Na sundarīṁ kāmaye. I do not want a beautiful spouse. Because it's a fact of life. Shri Vyasadeva says in the Shatapatha Brahmana, Yavad jayam na vindate asarvo hi tavad bhavati. As long as a human doesn't attain a spouse, they remain incomplete. They remain incomplete. If Mahaprabhu says, I do not want a beautiful spouse, is he asking people to remain incomplete in life? How do we understand that instruction of Mahaprabhu? How do we make sense of it? The same Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who married twice in his Grihastha ashram is later saying na sundarīṁ kāmaye. By the way, the verse was written when he was in Grihastha ashram. The verse was not written in Sannyasa ashram. Siksastakam appears twice in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. First is when he is in the Grihasthashram. What is the meaning of na sundarīṁ kāmaye? Mahaprabhu, you are already married, not once but twice. So how do we understand your instruction? But all of this we will see next time. I'm very happy I was able to discuss in detail. Na janam. I do not desire followers. I do not desire relatives. I do not desire friends. But what is the actual meaning of these things? I'm so happy I was able to discuss with like-minded individuals. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Yadatra skalitam kinchit vidvamsaha purayantu tat. Yadatra saushtavam kinchit tad guroreva me nahi. Yadatra skalitam kinchit. Whatever was mistaken, vidvamsaha, your learned devotees, purayantu tat. Please correct it. Yadatra saushtavam kinchit. But whatever was nice, tad guroreva me nahi. It belongs to my Gurujanas. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Not only Gurujanas, mitrasyapi. It also belongs to my friends. Me nahi. It doesn't belong to me. Thank you very much, dear devotees. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanande Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a really heartwarming and inspiring class. I'm really intrigued for the next class. That was quite the cliffhanger. So, thank you so much. We're really grateful for your association and all your hard work that goes into these series. It's really a privilege to have a small part in participating here, and also to be able to facilitate all the wonderful Vaishnavas here and the nice questions we have each week. We're going to go now to questions and answers. Before we do, if you're watching online and you'd like to join our live classes, we just invite you to send an email to siksastakam.hpd@gmail.com. Make sure to spell it the way it's spelled on screen and include your WhatsApp number and country code. For our questions and answers, we request that you kindly limit your questions to today's class. Keep your questions short so others have a chance to ask questions too. Try to make the question simple and easy to understand. We don't allow for any questions that try to hold a particular person or institution accountable, and we welcome a casual and informal mood. Anything else, Prabhuji?
Yeah, let's keep it informal. And sometimes I have seen that, sometimes some individuals are giving a big preface behind the question. They're explaining their question for 3 or 4 minutes. And it is I'm not able to sometimes grasp what they're actually asking. If they keep it short and succinct to the point, so that less time is spent on the question and I can give more time on actually answering the main point, that would be very nice. Yeah.
Right. So what Prabhuji means is sometimes your question might come from an experience or interaction with various people, something that happened in your life, and you want to give the context and the background of how you came to this question. But we would appreciate if you can try to go straight to the question and make it really clear so we can understand exactly what to answer. Is that right, Prabhuji?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you so much. Our first question is from Vamshidhari Gopal Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for once again and refreshing the friendship. I heard your class in Kandivali few years ago, but it was good refresher today on that. So my question, Prabhuji, is about relatives, specifically for mother and father, because there are many statements in Shastra which says that if mother and father are not happy, then our life is not successful, or like something to that context. So let's say if mother and father are favorable or not totally against, but still, let's say to make progress, if you are wanting to make some decision and they are not happy with it, how should we take that thing?
Of course, yes, it's a good question. If parents are not happy, if parents are not happy because of some action that we did in the past, And if it is possible to rectify it without harming our bhakti, we should by all means try to satisfy the parents.
Mhm.
But if parents are not happy because we took to bhakti, there is nothing that we can do about it.
Mhm.
In the fifth canto of the Bhagavatam, it is described about Bharat Maharaj that Bharat Maharaj's mother was Shri Rishabhde's wife, was
Mhm.
deeply attached to Bharat Maharaj, and she was so attached that she didn't want so much for him to take so deeply to spirituality. But Bharat Maharaj, knowing that his mother was deeply attached, therefore he took a decision which is favorable for his spiritual life, although
Mhm.
it caused distress to his mother at
Mhm.
that particular point of time. So if their unhappiness is because we are serious on the path of spirituality, whether any form of spirituality, karma yoga,
Mhm.
jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, bhakti yoga, our preference is to give uh, priority to the practice of yoga.
Mhm.
But if the distress is due to some other factor which has no relation to the practice of
Yeah.
yoga, then we
Right.
can try to fix that
Yeah.
as much as possible. And if it is still doesn't, if there is nothing, we cannot fix that, then we take shelter in the process of bhakti yoga and let Bhagwan decide what to do. So that is what can be said. Right. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for clarifying.
Hare
Very well.
Krishna.
Next, we have Rai Ramananda Prabhu.
Yeah.
Um, Hare Krishna, Dhanam Prabhuji.
Mm.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Thank you again very much for such a wonderful class. And it's such a beautiful class, Prabhu, and I'm literally indebted for such a wonderful class. It has really touched my heart. So,
Mhm.
Prabhuji, I want to ask a question regarding like I have heard this, the Doha, like right from the childhood, we used to hear this, and in many Harikathas, we also hear this, like Kavidas told, the nimdat न्यारे राखे आंगन खुदी छवाए बिन पानी साबुन बिना निर्मल करे सुधाए. So keep the envious people, those criticizes you around you,
Mm.
so that without even taking a bath, they are they will clean your faults. So generally, like today, we had discussed that we should not surround ourselves with unfavorable people, but sometimes it's told in scriptures also the sadhus welcome such the people who criticize or who envy them.
Mm.
So, like, how we can reconcile all these things in
Oh,
the pretext
wonderful.
of Rajana?
Wonderful. So there's a wonderful saying in Hindi which says, "Nindak niyare rakhiye, angan kuti chawai." Keep the critic so close to you, give him a grand welcome in your courtyard. And, because he is cleansing your sins without you having to put any effort. So, definitely, as far as removing the negatives is concerned, we want critics. We don't want to surround ourselves with yes men. Critics are people uh, who point some flaw in us and put it in very sharp words. So it hurts us. And, uh, if we remove the negativity and if we are able to see the essence of that criticism, and if that essence has any value, then it helps us improve. That is the only purpose of keeping a critic near us. For our actual improvement in bhajan, we need like-minded people. That whom Sri Rupa Goswami has said that sajatiya ashay. He has said in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, sajatiya ashay. Those whose inclinations are very similar to each other. So such people actually, with such people, we can make progress in spiritual life. And critics should be kept close, but not as close as one's friends. Because in English, there is a phrase, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer. But that's not the case of a Vaishnava. In the case of a Vaishnava keeps enemies close so that they can hear, what what is the main defect they are pointing out in him, so that he can improve upon them. But friends he keeps even closer, because friends help in progressing on the path, and with friends he can share secrets and take counseling. So this is the reason why a critic is also said that you keep him close. But keep him close, angan kuti chavai. Keep him in your courtyard. But a friend you bring inside the home. That, bring him inside the home, make him sit, speak with him. With a critic, you can't speak much, because they're just pointing out flaws and they want to leave after that. So outside the home, in your courtyard, you keep the critic. Inside the home, welcome a dear friend. In this way, the friend becomes dearer than the critic. So that's the intention of those particular statements. So I hope that clarifies to some degree of satisfaction.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jai.
Next, we have a question from Vignesh Kamat Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my pranams, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. When you mentioned the example of Shukracharya and his disciple Kacha, you explained how one may often value a relationship as long as it serves a particular purpose. In this regard, I wanted to understand something about our relationship with Sri Guru. If I desire to serve Guru so that Sri Krishna is pleased, or I accept Guru with a desire that through Guru I may attain Sri Krishna, does that make my relationship with Guru somewhat utilitarian? What should be the proper and unconditional attitude towards Sri Guru, one that does not appear transactional, especially for Vaishnavas in relation to Sri Krishna?
Okay, wonderful. So this question about Kacha and his Guru Shukracharya, see, many times gurus are accepted for learning something material, for a material gain. So since the gain is also limited, once you have the gain, you give up on the guru. But in the society of Vaishnavas, uh, spiritual life is unlimited, the guru's realizations are unlimited, and even in the spiritual world, janme, in this life and the next life, Prabhu say that Guru acts as the master. So the Guru who finally delivers the disciple, that Guru, janme, this life and the next life, in the spiritual world also, they remain superior to the disciple. Therefore, there is never a point in which the Guru becomes disposable, that now I have learnt everything from the Guru, now I can dispose of the Guru. And anyways, this attitude is not present in a Vaishnava, because I had quoted one verse also, that ekam apyaksharam yastu guru shishyam prabodayat prithivyam nasti tadravyam yaddatva chandrani bhaved. Even if a guru teaches a single syllable to the disciple, there is nothing that the disciple can give back to pay the debt. So grateful Vaishnavas who understand gratitude, we have learned something from this particular guru, they will always remain grateful, whether or not they have learned everything from the guru or they have not learned everything from the guru, they will remain grateful to the guru. But Kacha and Shukracharya was a purely material transactional relationship, and that verse also was speaking about material relationships. So therefore, I had to point out that particular case. So I hope that answers your query to some degree of satisfaction.
Next, we have Sham Radhika Prabhu.
Jai.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Yep.
Every time we get lots of new perspective by attending your class. Prabhuji, I have question about favorable relatives or friends for our bhakti. So, I mean, in today's class, you greatly explain about we should be cautious about unfavorable. And also, you give the examples of Srila Jiva Goswami ji or Srila Narottam Das Thakur ji about their friends. Now, at sadhak level, about those people who are favorable to our bhakti, are there any guidelines that we should follow so that this relationship does not result into a kind of attachment or more? And also, we are not too dependent upon them in our personal or ekantik sadhana. So do we need to take any kind of guidelines on this one?
Your question is with regards to friends, do we need to take any precautions so that the friendship doesn't turn into a source of material delusion? The answer is the friendship should be based on spiritual values and spiritual activities together. Something like performing your kirtan together, performing your shravanam together, performing your swadhyaya, your study together. Friendship should be based on that, basically. And then in that friendship, no matter how much you get attached to each other, the central point of attachment is the bhajan that you are doing together, the bhakti that you are doing together. It is most welcome. Why is Shri Jeev Goswami saying that I want Gopal Das as my friend in this life and the next life? Why is he saying at the end of Harinamamrit Vyakaranam? It clearly shows deep attachment to a friend. The reason for showing such deep attachment, only when you have such deep attachment do you end up composing verses by saying that I want this person in this life and next life. It is a clear indicator of deep attachment. So there's no harm in having deep attachment to friends. Shri Narottam Das Thakur, the things that he has said about his affection for Shri Ramchandra Kaviraj, so it's written it in his book. So there is no harm in having such friends, provided that the locus, the central point of the attachment is your common interest in bhajan, your common interest in bhakti. Then you can have unlimited attachment to such friendship, because such friendship is the cause of liberation and is the cause of eternal service. I am reminded of a wonderful verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and I will quote this verse so that this is third canto, 23rd chapter, verse number 55. Wonderful verse. संगो यह संसृतेर हेतुर असत्सु विहितो धिया स एव साधुषु कृतो निसंगत्वाय कल्पते. Shyam Radhika Prabhu, can you kindly read the translation?
Association for sense gratification is certainly the path of bondage, but the same type of association performed with a saintly person leads to the path of liberation, even if performed without knowledge.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Yeah.
So this is the answer to your query, actually. This is the precise answer to your query as given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. As long as the center of the friendship is based on spiritual values, not on degrading each other in the material world, you have unlimited attachment to such a person. Wonderful. Then you are safe. But the moment the attachment, the center of the friendship is based on something material, and then the spiritual life is no longer the center of the relationship, then it starts degrading, and then we should take precaution. So I hope that answers your query to some degree of satisfaction. Yes.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Jai.
Next, we have a question from Samarth Raji Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and all Vaishnavas, please accept my pranams. Can I know more about Sri Guru's relationship with the disciple in a friendly mood? Even if Sri Guru treats us as a friend, as disciples, we should know our boundaries and not cross them. Please share more about this if possible. Also, can you please share more about the relationship between Srila Jiva Goswami and Gopal Das?
Wonderful. See, Shri Guru is also a friend in one way, but that friendship is a friendship of awe and reverence from the side of the disciple. Shri Narottam Das Thakur says, Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhama Janar Bandhu. So for the fallen persons, he is also a sort of a friend. So it is very important to understand that we should have that sort of a friendship with Guru, so that we understand his mind, he understands our mind, but we have respect. It is called Sambrahma. Sambrahma means it is called deep respect and reverence for the Guru. But the special case of Sri Jiva Goswami and Gopal Das seems to be that Sri Gopal Das first became a friend of Sri Jiva Goswami and later might have requested initiation from Sri Jiva Goswami. So the initial relationship was that of a friend, and then later he might have requested initiation from Sri Jiva Goswami. So those relationships are, well, not exactly the relation where one comes as a disciple in the first place. They first became friends, and later the friend requested initiation mantra from his own friend Sri Jiva Goswami. Of course, Sri Gopal Das would have done all the necessary requirements which are needed for the relationship, paying obeisances to Sri Jiva Goswami, making sure that he is serving Sri Jiva Goswami. But Sri Jiva Goswami always gave more priority to seeing him as a friend, because Sri Jiva Goswami did not want to lose that particular factor in the relationship. So that's very important from Sri Jiva Goswami's point of view, that he wanted that friendship. Sri Jiva Goswami wanted that friendship. And therefore, Sri Jiva Goswami kept that relationship. So that is what can be said. Other than that, more details are not known because there are no writings by Sri Gopal Das. And whatever Sri Jiva Goswami has written, that is all that we know. That there are 2-3 things I will tell you. First thing is that Sri Jiva Goswami, on the request of Sri Gopal Das, he gave preference to Swakiyavad. Swakiyavad means the understanding that the gopis are married to Krishna, therefore there is nothing wrong and there is no illicit relationship between gopis and Krishna. All of this Sri Jiva Goswami highlighted because his friend requested him. Who was his friend? Sri Gopal Das. Sri Jiva Goswami says in his commentary to Ujjwal Nilmani, Lochan Rochani commentary, he says, Swechchaya likhitam kinchit kinchidatra parechchaya. Yat purva parasambhaddham tat purvam aparamparam. That some things here I have written by my own desire, some things I have written by the desire of another person. Now, who is that another person? He doesn't name, but we know that another person is Sri Gopal Das. Because Sri Gopal Das knew that in Ujjwal Nilmani, which is dealing with Madhurya Ras, he wanted to request Sri Jiva Goswami, please write it in such a way that the society will understand that the gopis and Sri Krishna are married to each other. Sri Jiva Goswami wrote it in such a way so that tomorrow there will be no there is no controversy in the general society that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they are promoting this illicit relationship between Krishna and the gopis. So that's the reason why Sri Gopal Das might have requested him, and Sri Jiva Goswami honored that request. It's also indicated that Sri Jiva Goswami might have named the Champu Gopal Champu in honor of his friend Gopal Das. And of course, he was also a disciple. So all these things we know, and he also finds a mention in the will of Sri Jiva Goswami. So all these things that is what we are aware of. Right. So that's it.
Next, we have a question from Dharmesh Jain Prabhu.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dhanvat Pranam.
My pronouns.
Yeah, so Prabhuji, you showed us one slide, where the shloka was Mad Bhakti Nam, where it was mentioned that relatives which are not, conducive to my bhakti, I should not associate with them. So there was one, a line you showed in one slide. So can I know, like, from which Acharya's commentary
No,
is that actually?
No. The na janam kāmaye. I do not desire relatives. How do we
Yeah.
understand it? So, mat bhakti paripanthinam. Those who are antagonistic to my bhakti, I do not desire much association. I did not say that you should remove them. I have explained
Right.
in great detail that where minimum relationship should be kept, we should do our duties in relationship with them. So that Sanskrit phrase was explained in by expanding the Sanskrit. It is not from the
Okay.
commentary of the original Sanskrit na janam kāmaye was expanded below. And like many
Okay.
times in grammar, we expand simple terms and give a little more elaborate understanding, because you can't take the literal understanding in this case, because literal understanding will mean that all of us will have to give up all our relatives, and then you cannot have grihastha ashram. So this is a case of explaining the same term by taking help of Lakshana Vritti, the secondary indicatory understanding. That phrase was given by me because that is the only way you can understand janam in this particular context. There is no other way you can understand it. Right?
Okay. Thank you.
Jai.
Sorry to intrude, but I'll add in Jaiva Dharma, there's a discussion about Grihastha Dharma, and it says it's not possible for a householder to refrain from associating with people in the world and with family members. And so the line that's drawn is that the 6 intimate exchanges of giving and receiving gifts and revealing your mind and asking personal questions and sharing food should be shared with devotees and restricted with non-devotees. Is that correct, Prabhuji?
Yeah, wonderful. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has expressed it very correctly.
Next, we have a question from Pankaj Netra Prabhu. He says, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. If some relatives or family members in a Maharata family advise us, according to family tradition, to kill animals, such as goats or hens, should we agree with them or should we oppose them? Since they are our seniors and villagers such as Gurav Gadi, if I said that right, may also tell us to perform such animal sacrifices, what should we do if we are the only devotee in the family? And if we refuse to participate, the whole village may become opposed to us and our family. This may also create difficulties regarding funeral rites and other family traditions. So, what should we do in such a situation, Prabhuji? Please advise.
Okay. If you are born in a family which is based on eating non-vegetarian food, which is based on eating meat, and then you have to do that, if they are asking you to do that. We know that a killer of an animal is condemned in the strongest terms in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And a killer of the animals is also condemned in many smritis. So we can very respectfully tell our family members that I am not in favor of this because this is directly against my path of bhakti yoga. So I am sorry, I cannot perform such sacrifices of animals. So we can directly tell the family members. If they become angry because of it, there is no question of somebody becoming angry because we are explaining in a polite and logical manner. If they still become angry, one can keep quiet because ultimately nobody can force you as an adult. You are an adult, you can take your own decisions. Ultimately, nobody can force you. But we have to be very polite in telling family members because if we say yes once, then we are on a slippery slope. Then every time they will say, last time you said yes, why are you refusing this time? And then it is a slippery slope from which you cannot recover. So better to set a polite and firm boundary in the first instance so that later it becomes the standard, the de facto norm, and they know that this is the life you are living. If they want to become more unfavorable, that's up to them. But whatever ceremonies, religious ceremonies which are not against the spirit of Vaishnavism, those religious ceremonies, if some participation is required from my side, I can go and participate in them. But uh, if there is anything against Vaishnavism, I need not participate in that. No Shastra will force me to do that. So that is how we need to behave in a society where relatives are meat eaters. So that is what can be said. Yes. Yes.
Question from Mohit Deshmukh Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you for a wonderful class. So my question is that in the slide of regarding the limitations of relatives, there was a verse like Swadhina Daita Sutavadhi. So from that, basically I want to ask that, is there a true love in any relation or like any relation kind of thing? And what about the relations which was established on Krishna and later it was termed as friends and like wife or and any other relations. So like what are the limitations there?
Can you
We
repeat
don't.
the later part of the question?
Yes. So basically, what about the relations which was established because of Krishna and later turned to the friends and wife and like that? If
Relation
the
which was
limitations applies,
okay.
yes.
What about relationships in bhakti, but which later turned into a relationship such as wife, friend, etc. Those relationships you're asking
Yes.
about.
Yes.
All right. So the first question uh, is there any love in the relationships in the world? There is love, but actually that love cannot come close to the ideal of love that is mentioned uh, in the Shastra of Sri Rupa Goswami. Because that ideal of love, which is expressed by the previous acharyas, that love which exists between the jivas and Shri Krishna in the spiritual world, uh, that love is on a very elevated and lofty platform. And in comparison to that, this love is very conditional or artificial or partial. But still, it gets called as love because what exactly is love? And there are many definitions of love, but one of the best definitions, which summarizes many things, is the ability to accept inconvenience for the sake of the beloved. It's a very good definition. The ability to accept inconvenience or distress for the sake of giving happiness to the beloved. So, you know, I saw somebody forwarded it to me, and I saw many definitions of love that were taken from many of the Western philosophers. And I'd like to read out some of those definitions which I saw from the various philosophers. So it's a summary of their philosophies. Nietzsche says, "Love is a dangerous passion. It binds, it wounds, but it also creates." Albert Camus says, "Love is knowing that the world is absurd and still choosing another person." Schopenhauer says, "Love is a trick of the species to ensure survival, nothing more." Marcus Aurelius says, "Love is to wish good for another soul and to live in harmony with them." Franz Kafka says, "Love is longing that can never be satisfied. It is both a cage and a freedom." And Dostoevsky, which I believe is closest to Sri Rupa Goswami, says, "Love is to bear another's suffering as your own, and in this we touch God." So these are six definitions of love which I got. If you want, I'll forward it in the group. But these are six definitions of love that I got, which are like a summary of the philosophies of these individuals. So this is how love is defined in the material world. And perhaps Dostoevsky got closest to the definition of Sri Rupa Goswami. And the ability to tolerate suffering for the sake of giving happiness to others. So that is what is found in the material world. And therefore, Prabhupada used to say that a mother's love is the closest that it gets because she tolerates suffering voluntarily for the child. A father also tolerates, but the mother tolerates more. So this is what it is in this world, but it has its limitations, but it is very glorious. We should not, denigrate it. Whatever it is very glorious within its limits. But the love of the spiritual world is a different thing altogether. It has no comparison to what exists here. So that is what can be said. Second thing is people who if somebody came in contact with bhakti and later they also turned into a relationship. So as long as the center of the relationship is bhakti, to that degree, the relationship is spiritual in nature. If the center of the relationship changes to my pleasure or your pleasure, then the relationship starts becoming material. So it's difficult to ensure because there is definitely a factor of material nature in relationships. Dharma, artha, and kam will come into factor when a relationship changes into marriage, a friendship changes into marriage or something like that. You will need to have dharma, artha, and kam. So obviously there will be material aspects to such a relationship. But as long as the final goal is common, uh, both husband and wife can walk as friends. Next time I will show a wonderful verse on how the husband and wife are supposed to be. Yatra bharya cha bharta cha. Wonderful verse. I will show that particular verse. Mahaprabhu says, Na sundarīṁ kāmaye. Before we reject a sundari, before we reject a beautiful spouse, first let's understand what is beauty. Is beauty simply a charming face? How does Sri Rupa Goswami define beauty? So we will first see what is the meaning of sundar, saundarya. We will see what saundarya is. What makes a person beautiful? Is it just a charming face, or is it something more than that? And then we will understand, after understanding saundarya, what is beauty. Then we can understand when Mahaprabhu says sundarīṁ, I do not want a beautiful spouse. So beautiful on which level? So all of that will come up. But I hope this satisfies your query to some degree of satisfaction. Dhameshwar Mahaprabhu, if you feel that I can send the definitions of love to you, and you can see how accurate they are because you are more expert in this department. And if you feel that it is worthy of sharing, then maybe you can share with the Q&A group. Right, Prabhu?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and verify them. And if you're not opposed to it, I could share some of the qualities of a friend according to Aristotle. I have some really nice
Wonderful.
highlights.
Yes, we should.
Someone
Yes.
who shares your pleasure and also your pain,
Yeah.
who wants the same things, who has done well by you, who is a friend of your friends, and also hostile to the same enemies, who is restrained and not unjust, who it's pleasant to spend time with, who's easy-tempered and not critical of your faults or keen to quarrel and fight, who's skilled at cracking a joke and taking one, who praises your good features, especially those that you're a little insecure about. And this last one you mentioned also, it says they act for your welfare without being asked and without having to reveal that they did it.
Right. Wonderful.
That's from the book Rhetoric.
Wonderful. So this is how, sometimes ideas come from different parts of the world, and it is very nice to accept good ideas wherever they come from. So I'm very happy to hear all these realizations about friendship and relationships. And I have sent you the definitions of love. You please go through them, and later at your convenience you can maybe forward it in the group. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Next, we have a question from Galaxy A355G.
So that's the phone
from another
phone.
galaxy.
No. That's the phone model number.
I know. I'm just being funny.
I'm Madhav Manoharini Devidasi. I'm not very efficient in dealing with the phone, so this
No
thing
problem.
has somehow come, and I need to take some assistance to change that and put my name there.
No
So my
problem.
question, Prabhu, is regarding the non-vegetarian food, and it becomes extremely difficult in my situation where my son-in-law is a non-vegetarian. And he is a hardcore non-vegetarian. I mean, he needs to have non-veg every day. So, but I have not been making any. I have not been serving him non-vegetarian food at my house, and so I feel kind of odd that when he comes, I can't. He doesn't eat vegetarian food so much, so I feel odd that when he comes home, I can't give him anything to eat. So I just want to know, should I continue like this? Is it important for me to continue like this? Or can I buy something from out? Or can I arrange some food to be cooked here for him in my place? So far, I've not been doing it. So I just want some guidance regarding this.
Okay, Mata, this seems to be a very personal question, but I'll give some
Yeah.
general answer. Huh? See, every situation on a personal level is different. But what I can say, Mataji, is the Shastra clearly says that six people take the reaction for killing an animal. Manusmriti says that six people take the reaction for killing an animal: the person who transports it, the person who slaughters the animal, the person who buys or sells the animal, the person who cooks the animal, the person who eats the animal. So there are many people who take the reaction for that. Ideally, you don't want to take the reaction of either buying the animal or cooking the animal, or serving the animal. So you don't want to take those reactions. So Shastra clearly recommends against these particular actions. This is something general that I am saying. Your situation seems to be a very specific situation. Perhaps you can ask privately on the email address which was given, so that it will be possible to give, you can express your situation more clearly, and then the answer can be given accordingly. I hope that satisfies your query.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Part of my bad jokes. Next we have Bhavya Bhagavan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for this class, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you mentioned that we should always have deep gratitude for the devotees who have helped us in this path, Prabhu. Because what devotees told us, no one told us before. So, Prabhuji, my question is, there could be some devotees who really helped us in our Krishna consciousness, but uh, with the passage of time, our relationship with them is not as good as it was before, Prabhu, or like there was some fallout or something. Although we still have great gratitude, Prabhu, for them, but how do we deal with this, Prabhu? I just wanted to understand your thoughts on this, Prabhu.
So they were friends, but today they are not so much. How do you deal with such a
And yeah,
situation?
and they helped us in Krishna consciousness also, Prabhu.
Sure, sure. It's the nature of the material world that friends turn into enemies, enemies turn into friends. There's a nice verse in the Bhagavatam 6:16:5. Bandhu gyati ari madhyastha mitrodasina vidvisha sarva eva hi sarvesham bhavanti kramasho mithaha. In the material world, which advances like a river that carries away the living entity, all people become friends, relatives, and enemies in due course of time. They also act neutrally, they mediate, they despise one another, they act in many other relationships. Nonetheless, despite these various transactions, no one is permanently related. So, this is part of interacting with the material world. It is also said in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vase bahu nam kalaho. When many people gather, there is going to be a quarrel. When many people gather together in a society, there is going to be a quarrel. I like to show that verse if I have not shown previously, because it's a very important teaching by Bhagavan Shri Krishna. Here it says, Vase bahunam kalaho bhaved varta dvayorapi eka eva vaset tasmat kumarya eva kankana. When many people live together in one place, there will undoubtedly, and undoubtedly should be highlighted here, undoubtedly be quarreling. Even if two people live together, there will be frivolous conversation and disagreement. Conversation here should be understood as gossip. So there will be frivolous gossip and disagreement. Therefore, to avoid conflict, one should live alone, as we learn the example of the bracelet of the young girl. A girl was cooking some food. She had many, bracelets. She was cooking, making a big noise and disturbing everybody. So she kept only two on each hand. Even with the two, they were making a noise. So she kept only one on each hand. With one bracelet on each hand, they were not making a noise. So even if two people stay together, there is going to be that. Mm. Uh, and this is the nature of society. It happens. I make a joke about it in Hindi. I will tell you. बैठे बैठे क्या करे, करना है कुछ काम, शुरू करते हैं दूसरे की निंदा लेकर प्रभु का नाम. So this is what, this you might have heard this poem. I have modified it. That what do we do when we are alone? So people they perform criticism of others, but they first take Krishna's name. Hare Krishna Prabhu, how are you? Now I would like to tell you something about this devotee. So this is what happens even when two people gather. Eka eva vaset tasmat. Learn to live alone. Kumarya eva kankana. But always have gratitude for what a person contributed in your life. Always have that acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is gratitude. You don't need to do more. Acknowledgement is gratitude. That acknowledgement should be there, and let that acknowledgement not go away. And even if you want to keep a distance, keep a distance. But whenever you have to acknowledge their contribution, you should not shy away from acknowledging it. That's what can be done in most situations. All right. Jai.
Yeah,
Thank you.
makes sense, Rosie. Thank you so much.
Next, we have a question from Chaitanya D. Just wanted to know about the relationship between Srila Prabhupada and Srila Narayan Maharaj, just as in light of how we saw the friendship between Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Gopal Das. Can we see this as an example of the kind of cooperation that was advocated for by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur? Should we see it through the lens of friendship?
Srila Prabhupada was always expecting the support, the friendship of all his God family. And he always, many places, Srila Prabhupada says that I am always expecting the support of my God brothers and their disciples and everybody. So Prabhupada always expected. And it is also a fact that he had a very good relationship with Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj, who had given him sannyas, and his disciple Shri Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. So Srila Prabhupada had good relationship with both of them. And sometimes what happens is that two Vaishnavas have good relationship. Sometimes their followers may not be having such a good relationship. So that happens. As I said, it is the nature of the material world where many people gather. Sometimes some people start quarreling with each other. So if we take the whole institutional considerations out of the picture, there are many good relationships between Srila Prabhupada and his god brothers. But sometimes, due to some institutional considerations, sometimes Prabhupada was not happy with some of his god brothers, and he expressed it in his letters. Otherwise, he had many good relationships with many of his god brothers and god family. So, why only take one example? Take all the examples of all the followers and disciples of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada. Many of them had, great friendship amongst each other. So that is what can be said in this regard. Jai.
Next, we have a question from Paramakaruna Prabhu.
Jai.
Dhanavad pranams, Prabhuji.
Pranams.
Thank you so much. This was such a nice class, and I really liked the understanding. First time I'm hearing about this Shri Gopal Das Prabhuji, and it is such a wonderful thing that you have shared. How it, in my heart, it brings about a whole new aspect of Shri Jiva Goswami. For me, he was like this great acharya, wrote the Shat Sandarbhas and so many like this great untouchable, untouchable, not untouchable, but like hard, like so high up there that we cannot even, and to see this personal side, that he had such a good friend, and it's just so heartwarming. And thank you so much for bringing all this. I just wanted to appreciate you
Jai.
for sharing all of this with us, Prabhuji. I did have a question later on. After I raised my hand, I just wanted to first appreciate, and that was all that I wanted to say. But then a question also came up in my mind, which I wanted to ask.
Yes.
So, Prabhuji, my question is related to this one, which I have heard from you and previous acharyas, that the Siddhanta is so important and we must not compromise on that. So, was Shri Jiva Goswami planning to write about the Swakiya aspect also like a from his own side and then later attributed it to Sri Gopal Das Maharaj, or solely was it on his request that he put it there? Then how do we understand that, staying very firm on the Siddhanta, regardless of friendship and however close he might have been, because Siddhanta is for the next thousands of years for all of us to understand. So, how could you please share some light on this whole aspect of how to understand the solidarity of Siddhanta?
Okay. So I will first point out the verse of Sri Jiva Goswami that he wrote in his commentary to Ujjwal Nilmani. And this verse I am sharing on the screen because this verse shows very clearly. Sri Jiva Goswami says, Swechchaya likhitam kimchit atra parichaya. Kimchit, something, likhitam, has been written, swechchaya, by my own desire. Something has been written by my own desire. Kimchit, something, atra, in here, in Ujjwal Nilmani and other literature, parechchaya, by somebody else's desire. So, yat purva apara sambandham, that which makes logical connection and sense to each other, tat purvam, that is my desire. Aparam, and if you find some logical inconsistency, param, it is written by somebody else's desire. This is what is the intention of the verse. So it is very clearly mentioned here that kimchid atra parichaya, some things I wrote by somebody else's desire. Very clearly he has written. So Gaudiya Vaishnavism, to like formalize that marriage of Radha and Krishna as he did in the Gopal Champu, and to highlight more, to put more focus on Swakiyavad, is Sri Jiva Goswami's contribution, which the focus on Swakiyavad, the focus happened because of the request of Sri Gopal Das. Question is, are the gopis Swakiya or Parakiya? This question arises. They are both in some ways. The gopis are Swakiya from a Tattva point of view. Sri Sanatan Goswami has also said this in his commentary to the 10th canto, that from a Tattva point of view, the gopis are Swakiya. What is the meaning of Tattva point of view? From a Tattva point of view, they cannot belong to anybody other than Krishna. From a Tattva point of view, please tell me, can the gopis be married to a Jiva Tattva? Please tell me. No. So from a Tattva point, from a philosophical point of view, they are the energies of Sri Krishna. So from a philosophical point of view, that they are Swakiya. But from a Leela point of view, which is the more important point of view here, from a Leela point of view, they are supposed to be married to somebody else. Therefore, Parakiya. Now, when in Gopal Champu, Sri Jiva Goswami, he, takes that episode in the end where Sri Krishna comes back, and then, the whole marriage takes place between the gopis and Sri Krishna. That whole emphasis is by somebody else's desire. So that is what he is trying to indicate. The emphasis on them being married is by somebody else's desire. His personal emphasis would have been on the Leela, that they live as if they are not married to each other. But he pulled away that emphasis from that and brought the emphasis more to the Tattva side by the desire of Sri Gopal Das. That's what can be said in this regard. Okay, so I hope that answers your query to some degree of satisfaction.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Could you please share that quote or that the Gopal Ujjwal Nilmani, which verse is it the commentary of?
Yeah, I will share with you that particular exact quote with you. I am sharing with you the exact quote number. Just a minute, because sharing my screen so that you can see here. Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes it here in his Ananda Chandrika to Ujjwal Nilmani 1.1. So in the very beginning, the first verse, Sri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is quoting it, but this is actually from Sri Jiva Goswami. He's quoting Sri Jiva Goswami's verse. It will come up later in the Ujjwal Nilmani itself. And then once again it is quoted below here, and this is supposed to be, let me go up and find out the verse number, but it is, this is from 1.21 of Ujjwal Nilmani, Sri Jiva Goswami's commentary. So that is for the reference of this particular verse by Sri Jiva Goswami. I hope that makes it clear. Yeah.
Wonderful, Prabhuji. Wonderful. Thank you so much. This is so
Yeah.
enlightening, and I really appreciate your such deep focus and laser sharp, focus on all the details. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Next, we have a question from Rai Ramananda Prabhu. There is a quote that goes like this: "The truth is, everyone is going to hurt you. You just have to find the ones worth suffering for." In the context of friendship and having a relationship with Sajatya Ashaya Snigdha Sadhus, that means like-minded devotees, right? So in the context of friendship and having a relationship with like-minded devotees, how can we develop an close intimacy that for their pleasure we will take all sufferings?
He says ahead, I don't find this quality in myself till now. So what are the parameters to? Okay. So the question is, the truth is everyone is going to hurt you. You just got to find the ones worth suffering from. It's not that everyone is going to hurt you. The material world is going to hurt you. It's the nature of it's not the fault of the living entities. When we say samsar davanal doesn't mean that it's the fault of the bamboos who rub against each other. The wind causes the bamboos to rub against each other, and which results in a fire. So the bamboo should not be faulted for the blowing of the wind and the friction and the fire. So the individual jivas should not be so much blamed. It's the nature of the material world that it causes that friction. Your question, however, is in association with Sajatiya, like-minded sadhus. How can we develop such intense feelings that we are ready to take suffering from them? Well, nothing should be done in a artificial, non-organic manner. The relationship has to develop over years with sadhus with whom you are able to share your heart fully, and with whom and they also share their heart with you. There is something called as exposing your vulnerabilities to a sadhu, and they know how to deal with it and keep it a secret, and they will not snitch upon you. Snitch means they will not tell somebody behind your back. When that trust is established over a period of time, and therefore I use that phrase, it is called a partner in crime. For a partner in crime, you will be willing to accept all suffering. It will not happen with a formal relationship. It will only happen when the relationship is tested over time and the sadhu proves that they are not not snitching behind your back, and they are protecting your secrets, and they are protecting you, and you are protecting them. When it is established like that, it's with good fortune. Therefore, it says such friends are found with good fortune. With good fortune, you will find one or two such people. Keep them always with you and give them the benefit of doubt in all cases in your life, if you manage to find such people. But you will have to expose your vulnerabilities to them. They will have to expose their vulnerabilities to you. Who will take the first step? That is that is how it begins. So if you have such people, you are blessed. And don't tell about such people to others. And keep them with you. Keep them with you. Sri Jiva Goswami, at the end of his life, he speaks about Gopal Das. He's Harinamamrit Vyakaran. Later in his life, speaking about Sri Gopal Das. But he's not making a big show out of it that this is my best friend Gopal Das, this is my best friend Gopal Das. Don't advertise it to the entire society so much. A few people you can tell, but let the friendship remain very private so that the flavor of the friendship remains always. That is what I would suggest in this regard. Jai.
Prabhuji, is it okay if I clarify my understanding of the similarities between like a criminal relationship or enterprise and friendship?
Yeah. I just a rough phrase I
Sure.
used, partner in crime, but you can refine it further, Prabhu. Jai.
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. The biggest offense in the criminal world is snitching
Yeah.
because they're operating outside the law of the land they live in. They have to have private understanding within the group and even between groups. They have their own private rules, which are like a little bubble separate from the larger society.
Yeah.
And so you gave you said in the lecture that even if a friend has some faults, they do some things which within the Vaishnava society aren't so ideal, aren't perfect, aren't advised. You still keep a confidence and maybe talk about those things privately rather than letting anyone else know. And in this way, you have a little private bubble within the Vaishnava society.
Yeah. And it is needed. Let's say there a devotee comes to you, Dhāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, is a very close friend of yours, and he tells you, I like the whole path, I like the process, I like Shri Krishna, I like everything. I have a small weakness. I smoke marijuana from time to time. So what are you going to say, Prabhu? Our friendship ends today because you just told me that that's what will you say to a friend like this? That's your private understanding with them. So yeah, if you can help them come out of that addiction, or you can advise them something, but the worst thing would be snitching. That will immediately end a friendship. So gradually, step by step, by trusting each other with the vulnerabilities of each other, a friendship is formed. Otherwise, it's a society of people doing Hare Krishna, Prabhu, how are you? Everything is fine. I'm doing very good. And they are pretending on their face, and all the smiling and external pretense, an absolutely low trust society where nobody trusts each other with their secrets. So that's not the society that we want to live in. So that's what, I would like to say in this regard. Jai.
Thank you. Let's see here. Next, we have a question from Vignesh Kamat Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my pranams are goes to Srila Prabhupada. As it is described, there are two kinds of sakya, friendship, Vishramba and Sambrama. If you remind me, Prabhuji, I think those mean formal and informal.
Vishramba is with confidence. Sambrama is with respect. That is. Yeah.
What kind of relationship ought we to have with Vaishnavas in this world? Also, is there any place for prajalpa among such friends, or should Vaishnava friends speak only about Sri Krishna, with other topics being considered Maya? How do we know where to draw the line? Also, friendship is generally understood to be between equals. If so, how should we understand the instruction that a Vaishnava should associate with someone superior to himself?
Okay, many questions. Let's please keep it in the chat box so I will be able to answer one by one. The first question is, okay, so friendship is of two types, Vishramba and Sambrama. Vishramba is with confidence, Sambrama is with respect. What kind of relationship ought we to have with the Vaishnavas in this world? With many Vaishnavas like Guru and superiors, there has to be Sambrama, there has to be awe and reverence. With some Vaishnavas who are on equal level, Vishramba, confidence, and with Guru also, some degree of Vishramba needs to be there, because Sri Rupa Goswami says, Vishrambhena Guruha Seva, serve the Guru with confidence. So some degree of confidence also needs to be in the seva of the guru. Also, is there any place for prajalpa among such friends? Is there any place for, see, if they are your friends, if you are friends only for discussing spiritual life, then there will not be any prajalpa. But if your friendship also has, in material aspects to it, or you like to discuss something from the material world, sooner or later some prajalpa will enter into it. As long as you don't let the prajalpa dominate that relationship, you can still, have a predominantly spiritual relationship with your friend. Also, is there any place okay. Where do we draw the line? There is no drawing a line. You draw the line where you feel that your friendship is degrading you. Keep your friendship on the spiritual level. Speak mainly about spiritual topics. That is good. Sometimes inadvertently, due to the nature of the material world, some prajalpa enters. Let it not become the feature of the relationship. That's all. Also, friendship is generally understood to be between equals. Uh, how should we understand the instruction that a Vaishnava should associate with someone superior to himself? Yeah, you associate with somebody superior for getting instructions on bhajan. With such a person, you serve them. Shushrushaya bhajana vigyam. Shushrushya. You serve them. And if somebody is also a friend, if they are allowing you to be their friend also simultaneously, that is wonderful. Otherwise, associate with seniors as a somebody who's inferior. That is what can be done in general. So that is what I would like to say. Okay, let's move ahead.
Next we have Rai Ramananda Prabhu.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Dhanam Prabhuji. Thank you again for giving me the chance.
Okay,
Prabhuji, my question was
Ramananda
regarding...
Prabhu,
Yes,
is
yes,
it
yes,
possible
yes.
that you can wait for a few minutes? Because
Yes, yes,
Anita
Prabhu.
Mataji
No
has
problem.
not yet asked for the first, she's asking for the first time. So we would like to
Oh,
give her
I'm
the,
sorry.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mistakenly thought that I called
Definitely.
on her.
Yeah. So we will come
Next
back
we,
to Raira. Let's take Anita Mataji's question.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the very heartwarming class. I was thinking about in Bhagwan's pastimes, who did he have as, within this very true circle of friends? For Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, can we consider Swarup Damodar Das and Ramananda Raya as his closest circle? And for Bhagwan Krishna, whom do we understand as his closest circle, Prabhu? Jai. Haribol.
Especially in times of difficulties, Uddhav, Maharaj Uddhav was his close friend and associate. And therefore, Uddhav has what is called as Sankularati. Sankularati means a combination of two different bhavas, one as a servant and minister, another as a friend. So that is called Sankularati, Dasya and Sakhya, together in one single personality. So Uddhav in Mathura and Dwarka, Shri Uddhav was his close associate and friend. In Vrindavan, he had so many friends, Madhumangal, etc., with whom he would confide, in whom he would confide about his love of the gopis and Shri Radha. But in Dwarka and Mathura, he had Maharaj Uddhav, who was his very close friend, in whom he would confide about his love, about his secrets. And Shri Uddhav knew how to keep all the secrets of his friend. Such a trusted personality. Therefore, Bhagwan blindly trusts him with his secrets. That is the friend we want. Such a friend we want also in the Vaishnava society. So that's the answer to your query. I hope that answers.
Yeah, just one follow-up for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Do we consider Swarup Damodar Das and Ramananda?
Yeah. Shri Swarup Damodar, Shri Rai Ramananda. These are close associates who often behaved like friends with Mahaprabhu. So these two can definitely be considered as very close associates of Mahaprabhu. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
back to Rai Ramananda Prabhu.
Yeah.
Pranam Prabhuji. So Prabhuji, my question was exactly regarding the shloka of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where in Uddhav Gita it's told about the duties of a renunciant. So it's been told that Deva Dharadi Rupina Vignan Kurvanti. So like demigods try to create obstacles on the path of a sannyasi by appearing before him in the form of a former wife or other woman. So I never able to understood till now, like in commentaries also, Bhaktisiddhanta Prabhupada also told, and Prabhupada also told that the demigods enter the body of a wife or a son. They are envious, that's why they do all these things. But I don't able to understand that demigods are the devotees, pure devotees of Krishna. And also they are very highly intelligent and advanced. Their body is made up of sattva. So how come they do all these things? And what is the actual meaning that they come in the form of wife or a son? I never understood in the context of
Okay, wonderful.
Shastra.
See, I had read a verse in the Brihad Aranyak Vartik Sar, and I will try to find it. It's difficult to locate it because I will try to find. It's a huge text, Brihad Aranyak Vartik Sar. It is mentioned in the Brihad Aranyak Vartik Sar, and I'll post this in the group as soon as I find it in the Q&A group, that just as animals, cattle are domestic animals for humans. Similarly, humans are the devatas consider humans as their domesticated animals. Now, Rai Ramanan Prabhu, if a domesticated animal runs out of your boundary, tries to go out of your boundary, which you have set, will you be happy with that domesticated animal, or will you try to prevent that domesticated animal?
I will definitely try to prevent.
Now, somebody may
I'll
say
definitely try to stop.
yeah, you're becoming envious. You don't want that domesticated animal to have freedom. But you have created a system in which you are raising domesticated animals, and uh, uh, so yes, yes, he has quoted the verse, Abhishek Prabhu. Yonyam devatam upasate anyo savanyo aham asmiti na saveda yatha pashurevam sadevanam. He is the, pashu. He is like a animal for the devatas. So similarly, the devatas also consider human beings to be like their domesticated animals. You want to escape their system? Of course, they are going to try and prevent you from doing that. You may call that enviousness. A lighter word would be possessiveness. That's what it can be. Possessiveness would be a lighter word. So, out of possessiveness, thinking that these belong to me, how can they go against me? That's the feeling which the devatas have towards human beings. Just like you have the similar feeling towards domesticated animals who are under you. So, I hope that makes sense to you, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu, a little bit. But still, I don't able to understand that. Just like in also 10 Namapurad, it's told that we should not say a bad word against the demigod. But like initially, when we came to Krishna consciousness and this quote came in front of us, it gives a very bad conception about the demigods, and somehow also, people also misunderstand this, and they tell the bad things that demigods are not favorable for the bhajan.
Yeah.
So how we can understand this?
One of the 64 limbs of bhakti is Anya Deva Anavagya, to not disrespect the other devatas. So Sri Rupa Goswami quotes there that Harireva Sadaradhya Sarva Deveshwareshwarah Itare Brahma Rudradhya Navagyeya Kadachana. Hari is always to be worshipped, he is the Lord of all the gods. But other devatas such as Shri Brahma, Rudra, etc. should not be disrespected at any time. We don't disrespect them, but that doesn't mean that we don't understand the nature of devatas, especially the Swarga devatas like Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu, etc. We understand their nature also because Shastra tells us this is their nature. So we understand through the words of Shastra without adding any spices from our side. We don't add any negativities from our side. We just express it as Shastra gives it. So in that there is no offense of the devatas because we are simply repeating the words of the Shastra. And so in that way we avoid any aparadh towards the devatas. We don't add any spices to what Shastra says. So what Brihadaranyaka Vartik Sar says, that we quote exactly as it is. So I hope that answers your query.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Prabhu.
I will try to show the quote. I have a Hindi translation, but that quote is very, very relevant to understanding why the devatas behave like that. All right. Jai. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have a question from Rohini Nandan Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranams. Thank you, Prabhuji, for the wonderful class. Really beautiful. Would you please comment if the friendship between Duryodhana and Karna was conditional or unconditional, or something lacking in it to be labeled as an ideal friendship? Thank you, Prabhu.
The friendship between Duryodhana and Karna was conditional from the beginning. Karna did not have any kingdom. Duryodhana made him the king of Anga Pradesh. Why? He wanted to purchase Karna's friendship. So it began with a transaction. It was conditional in the beginning. And later, of course, Karna became an unconditional friend and supported Duryodhana in everything. But he did not perform the functions of a friend, because the function of a friend is to rescue your friend from negative things. Karna encouraged Duryodhana for negative things. So Karna did not perform the function of a true friend, and the whole thing started off from a transaction. So that is what can be said in this particular regard. So
Thank you so much,
I
Prabhuji.
am sharing from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, and I am sharing this quote from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. This is from 1.4.10 of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So yatha pashureva sa devanam yatha havai bahava pashavo manusyam bhunjurevam ekaika purusho devan bhunakti ekasmin eva पशावादीयमाने अप्रियं भवति किमु बहुषु तस्मादेषां तन्न प्रियं यदेतन् मनुष्या विद्युः. Dāmeśvara Mahāprabhu, can you please read from here?
Yeah. Now, if a man worships another deity, thinking he is one and I am another, he does not know. He is like an animal to the gods. As many animals serve a man, so does each man serve the gods. Even if one animal is taken away, it causes anguish to the owner. How much more so when many are taken away? Therefore, it is not pleasing to the gods that men should know this.
Yeah, so this is the reason why the devatas, they put so many obstacles in the path of the progressing sadhaka, and they put more obstacles in the path of those who are preaching to others. Because the example was given, if one is taken away, it causes anguish, and if that one also takes many away with him, then that causes even greater anguish to the devatas. So especially those who are performing kirtan and other such seva, prachar, it causes more anguish to the devatas. Often in their lives there are some obstacles which the devatas create. So that is what can be said.
Could that be true for aristocratic human beings like Daksha?
No, Daksha was
and Narada Muni took all of his sons.
Yeah. Narad Muni took away all the sons, and through the via medium of Daksha got a curse. Of course, the devatas don't like it that Narad Muni is trying to do this thing. And Narad Muni is infamous for this. It is called in Prakarta Kalahanam cha Nityam cha Kalahapri. It is said in the Mahabharata. Narad Muni is famous as creator of quarrels and fights between the devatas and asuras, and he loves those quarrels and fights. That is his reputation as given in the Mahabharata. Of course, the devatas don't like, and through via mediums such as Daksha, etc., they manage that he should get cursed so that he doesn't stay at one place at any point of time. That is what can be said.
Wow, thank you. Next, we have a question from Abhishek Prabhu.
Hare
Krishna, pranams, my pranams. Prabhuji, in this context, I have a question. By when the devatas will stop obstructing the sadhakas? I mean, yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's the conclusion.
By when will the devatas stop obstructing a sadhaka? The devatas can only obstruct a sadhaka till the time a sadhaka has prarabdha karma remaining with him. The devatas also cannot give a reaction, negative reaction, if they know that there is no negative karma remaining with him. Devatas are also bound by certain laws. They also see that you have some negative prarabdha karma, and they take a large chunk of that and give it to you immediately so that you stop becoming a spiritualist. But when your spiritual practice continues despite their obstacles, and it continues to such a degree that you exhaust most of your prarabdha karma, what will a devata do when your prarabdha karma itself is not supporting a negative reaction? So as long as you don't, when you become one-pointed, you come to the stage of nishtha, your prarabdha karmas are almost burnt away. Even devatas will not do anything because they cannot do something which is not there in your prarabdha karma. So that is the answer to your query. Right. Thank you. Jai.
Next, we have a question from Vignesh Kamat Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just a minute, Ranga. However, we also find a statement in the Narada Bhakti Sutra that seems to indicate otherwise regarding the attitude of the devatas towards devotees. Morante pitaro nrityanti devata sanata cheyam bhur bhavati. The forefathers of a pure devotee become joyful. The demigods dance, and the earth becomes protected by having a good master. How should we understand this in relation to the Brihat Aranyaka Upanishad verse you mentioned?
Wonderful. See, let's take it in this way. When there is I'll give a simple analogy, it will make it easier to understand. In an Olympics match, there are many people, many teams participating. Let's take the example of a swimming competition in Olympics. There are many teams participating. Of course, an opposing team wants that you should lose. An opposing team always wants that you should lose. You should not, perform very well. But when you not only win, but you break the record, Olympic record, or you break the world record, everybody naturally becomes happy that you have achieved something which was not achieved previously. Even your competitors, they express happiness. In that sense, it is said that the devatas become very happy because you did the impossible. So, wow, wonderful, congratulations, and we are happy for you. But greater happiness is with the Pitaras, the forefathers, who become happy because, see, it was my, descendant who did it. So like that. So devatas are happy because you overcame the obstacles and achieved perfection. Just like a person who is in the opposite team expresses their happiness. After every game, the losing team shakes hand with the winning team, saying you were good, you fought well, like this. So in that way, the devatas express happiness. So I hope that answers the query.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It looks like we've answered all questions.
Wonderful. Okay.
Excellent. So thank you, everyone, for your patience and most of all for your wonderful, thoughtful questions after this wonderful class. I'm really grateful for your patience with me and any mistakes or misunderstandings I have. I'd like to invite everyone now to unmute and give a big thank you to Hari Parsha Prabhu.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
So much,
Thank
Prabhuji.
you,
Prabhupada ki
Thank you,
jai.
thank you, thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha.
Srila
Hare
Prabhupada ki
Krishna,
jai.
Hare
Srila
Krishna,
Prabhupada ki
Krishna
jai.
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you
Jai
so much,
Srila
Prabhuji.
Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Jai Srila